Hello students, welcome back. We have been talking about organizational citizenship behavior. We talked about what is organizational citizenship behavior and certain other aspects of it in our previous session. Today, we will be talking about the forms of organizational citizenship behavior and also the implications of organizational citizenship behavior. Well, we know that organizational citizenship behavior, in short, let's call it OCB. It's a technical psychological term for the compilation of individual behaviors in a group setting. We also told in the previous session that it has been first defined by Dennis Organ in 1988 as an individual behavior which is not rewarded by a formal reward system, but that when combined with the same behavior in a group results in effectiveness. So what is done by going an extra mile over and above what has to be done formally, that is what we discuss about. Organizational citizenship behavior is linked to work productivity, employee effectiveness, and other factors which can impact a business. When we talk about the forms of organizational citizenship behavior, we would talk from two perspectives. One is individual perspective and the other is organizational perspective. Based on the taxonomy of organ, Williams and Anderson in 1991 have talked about two broad categories of OCB. The first one is organizational citizenship behavior with reference to the organization, which is OCBO. And the second is organizational citizenship behavior with reference to the individual, which is called OCBI. Now let's talk about these two forms of organizational citizenship behavior. That is OCBO, which refers to the organizations, and OCBI, which refers to the individuals. As the name indicates, OCBO refers to that extra role behavior of the employees, which in turn causes and provides direct benefits to the organization. Let us say if an employee organizes a clean drive in the campus within his organization, then there is nothing that he is going to get in terms of the rewards or whatever. But that is an extra role behavior. It's not a part of his job expectations. However, he does that over and above whatever is the prescribed role behavior. Similarly, and his kind of this clean drive is going to benefit the whole organization as such, and the whole premises is going to be free of all kinds of waste, and it is going to be clean. The second form is OCBI, which deals with extra role behaviors exhibited by the employees towards his or her colleagues, like helping them in accomplishing their tasks. And like for example, when a person completes his task for the day, and he or she sees somebody else working further, then helping them in completing the work, for which they may have to spend a little extra time on that particular day. But thus he is going to or she is going to help the other person who may be requiring some help but is not asking, or even if they don't ask and even if they don't feel that they require, by helping them, it will be like, unburdening them to certain aspect. So this extra role behavior which helps the individual is what we are referring to as OCBI. Osterk in 2010 defines this OCBI as a set of behaviors that directly benefit individuals but indirectly and ultimately benefit the organization. Now let us take this same example. When one employee helps another employee, a colleague, in spite of not being asked, he goes an extra mile and he helps that person, then this in turn builds up the team spirit in that particular team, and the person who is helped may yet help another person in a similar way, and thus it is going to be a chain reaction of helping each other, and in the process it helps the organization. It benefits the organization because work output increases within the timelines, within the deadlines, within the targets prescribed. Everything is being done, and each is helping the other, which indicates team spirit. Understanding the relationships between these forms of OCB and both their antecedents and consequences is important in order to capture the multidimensional nature of organizational citizenship behavior. So far, we have discussed that OCB can be divided into two categories: behavior, that is directed towards the other individuals, which I said is OCBI, and behavior, which is directed towards the organization, which is called OCBO. There is one more addition to the above categories in recent times, and that is called organizational citizenship behavior towards the environment. Like, for example, keeping the environment clean, seeing to it that harmful, hazardous substances are not thrown into the premises. So, this is called OCBE. Let's now look into the dimensions of OCB. Initial description of organizational citizenship behavior by Smith, Organ, and Neer way back in 1983 included two components, two dimensions, that is, altruism and generalized compliance. Altruism is a word that we hear often, even in the daily terminology. What is this altruism? It's a helping behavior directed towards individuals. You don't expect something when you help someone, it is on your own that you help the other person. For example, when co-workers need some assistance in completing a task, altruistic people go beyond their job description and assist them. They don't say, see, my job is only to work on this machine. I will not do anything beyond this. It's filing and all is your job. It's not my job. They never say that. They go an extra mile to help the other person to attain the targets, to achieve the targets, to reach the targets. So it is a helping behavior directed towards individuals with no expectation, of course. Not It's not because they're going to get some benefits out of it that people do. Altruism is a helping behavior. And generalized compliance, on the other hand, which is the second description given by Smith, Organ, and Neer, is that people doing things right and proper for their own sake rather than for any specific person. It's not because you want to please a person. You think it is right to help, so you help. Like, for example, when there is a small child trying to cross the road, or when there is an older person trying to cross the road, not because you want to please them, but you feel it is right on your part to help that person, so you go ahead and help them cross the road. When you are sitting in a seat in a bus or a train, and when you see an old lady or an old man standing somewhere beside you, you get up and you give the seat, you offer the seat. Once again, it's not because they're going to give you something, you're going to get some benefit out of it, but you think it is right and proper to offer them a seat. It is right and proper for them to sit rather than someone who is much younger than them, like you. So you do it for its own sake, for your own sake, rather than for anyone else. You feel it is justified, you feel it is just right, and hence you do it. So this is called generalized compliance. Later, Organ in 1988 attempted to further define OCB by identifying 5 specific categories of discretionary behavior. And he also explained how these could translate into organizational efficiency. Remember, we talked about this organizational efficiency. Whatever we do in an organization is to contribute towards the productivity of the organization and improve the efficiency of the organization. So the first dimension is altruism. Like I said a little while ago, typically it is directed towards other individuals. It contributes to group efficiency by enhancing individuals' performance. Like, for example, when there is a newcomer in your office, someone who has just joined, a fresher, he doesn't know. He's been struggling with certain things, or she's been struggling with certain things to get used to her system. So you sit with them and explain what it means. So this is where extending a helping hand to a newcomer is a part of your altruistic behavior. Then the second that has been explained by Organ was conscientiousness. This enhances the efficiency of both an individual as well as the group. Like, for example, when you complete an assigned task before the schedule and you are available for tasks which are not an obligation for you, you are given a particular job, you finish that job before the given time, and now you are available to help others around. Maybe someone else needs your help, you go sit with them and help. So it's like, you're conscientious, you finish your job within time, and the extra time which is left, you utilize it for helping others. So it enhances the efficiency of both you, the individual, as well as the group that you belong to, the whole team. The third dimension is sportsmanship. This improves the amount of time spent on constructive behaviors in the organization. Let's take, for example, a tendency to find a solution rather than complaining about the situation. Many people keep talking about the problems in the system, problems in the situations, problems in the context. Very few people come up with solutions, and such are the people who we are giving here as an example, for sportsmanship. So this sportsmanship improves the amount of time spent on constructive endeavors in the organization. So that's how finding a solution is more important than cribbing about a problem. And you know that problem is the reality. The next dimension is courtesy. Courtesy points to prevention of problems and facilitates constructive use of time. For example, sharing of knowledge and information among co-workers. You may know about certain things, and then when you share the knowledge among your co-workers, that helps them further in dealing with the issue. Like, for example, when you have learned a software, when you have learned a particular skill, then others are struggling to learn that skill. Probably your knowledge, extension of your knowledge, will help them learn it quicker so that your team functions better. The next dimension then is civic virtue. This promotes interests of the organization. Like, for example, volunteering and heading teams towards corporate social responsibility activities, the CSR activities of the organization. You become the volunteer, you head the team, you take the lead, you volunteer, you are on your own, you take the initiative. Such are the virtues which are termed as civic virtues. Let's now move on to the antecedents of organizational citizenship behavior. From the 5 dimensions of organizational citizenship behavior, we now move on to the antecedents of organizational citizenship behavior. Serious attempts have been made and are being made by academicians to identify the predictors of OCD. Podzikov and others in 2000 have said a wide range of employee, task, organizational, and leader characteristics are consistently found to predict different types of OCD across a range of occupations. So, what are those predictors? There are certain predictors which have been identified by the researchers, a list of which I am presenting to you. Attitude, employee engagement, organizational commitment, job satisfaction, perceived organizational support, perceived supervisory support, and organizational justice. These are supposed to be some of the antecedents of OCD, organizational citizenship behavior. Personality variables. For example, let's take conscientiousness and agreeableness. These are the traits which influence people to engage in OCD. According to researchers, that is Organ and Ryan, according to their 1995 research, personality variables such as conscientiousness and agreeableness are the ones which influence people to engage in OCD, which means it's a integral part of your personality. Organ in 2006 says that leadership styles such as instrumental leadership, supportive leadership, and transformational leadership are important. They encourage organizational citizenship behavior in various ways if deployed effectively, provided the quality of leader-member exchange is high. If it is high, then these leadership styles will encourage OCD in various ways. Now, what is this leader member exchange, LMX? It's an interaction between a superior and a subordinate. Such interaction, if characterized by mutual trust and liking, then it facilitates OCB. Otherwise, we cannot say that in any organization OCB is encouraged. It depends upon the LMX also. On the other hand, the leadership characteristics and healthy leader member exchange, we have talked about these two just now, both these dimensions. They have a strong influence on employees' willingness to engage in OCB. Ultimately, it is the trust between the leaders and the subordinate which counts rather than different styles of leadership. So there has to be a trust between the leader and the led. Only when there is trust between the leader and the led, different styles of leadership does not matter much. If there is a trust between leader and the subordinate, whatever the kind of the style of leadership is, irrespective of that, there will be a facilitating atmosphere towards OCD, according to Potsekov and others in 2000. The reward behavior of the leader, recognizing and appreciating the achievements of employees and rewarding them appropriately, are positively related to OCD. Again, according to Potsekov's research and others' research in 2000. So, the how well the leader is able to reward his subordinates, how well he is able to recognize and appreciate the achievements of the employees, it matters. If he can reward them appropriately, then this has a positive relation with OCB, according to Pottsville. The research on the antecedents of OCB, done by Smith Bateman in 1983, by Organ in 1983, shows that job satisfaction is the best predictor of OCB. This was further substantiated that employees with high levels of job satisfaction are more likely to engage in OCB, as per the research of Brown in 1993. Individuals with higher levels of job satisfaction have no intention to leave the organization, so they become a part and parcel of the organization. And since they have a job satisfaction, again, they may have a better OCB. Effective organizational commitment is one more antecedent. It's another factor which is often cited as an antecedent, important as an antecedent of OCB, as an important antecedent of OCB. Strong belief in and acceptance of organizational goals and a strong desire to maintain membership in the organization is what is considered as important, according to Van Dyne and others in 1995. Effective commitment enhances engagement to OCB without expecting any formal rewards, say Allen and Mayer, according to their study in 1996. The next antecedent is organizational justice. Whether or not employees feel organizational decisions are unbiased decisions, also if employee opinion is considered before decision making, and employees perceive that they are being treated equally with respect to training, tenure, responsibility, or workload, any of these, and if there is a perception of fairness, then all these are positively related to OCB, according to Moorman, 1991. A research on the role of group characteristics on OCB revealed that group cohesiveness, team member exchange, group potency, perceived team support, all these were positively related to OCB, as per the study of Organ and others, 2006. One more antecedent is perceived organizational support. In short, we may call using the acronym POS. The degree to which employees believe that their organization values their contributions and cares about their well-being and fulfills socio-emotional needs. Here, the relationship between POS, that is perceived organizational support, and OCB has always been positive. Same is the case with perceived supervisory support, in short PSS. The degree to which supervisors value the contributions, opinions, or gestures of their subordinates and care about their well-being According to Rhodes and Eisenberger, their study in 2002, PSS explains why subordinates display commitment to their supervisor. The relationship between OCB and PSS, that is, perceived supervisory support, has always been positive. Now we move on to the implications of OCB. When there is a presence of high level of OCB, it maximizes the organizational performance in several dimensions. Strong relationship between OCB and job satisfaction, as we have seen in the previous slides. There is a positive impact on employee performance and well-being as well. Again, the positive relationship between group cohesiveness and OCB also increases the productivity of the co-worker and coordinate activities within and across the work groups. OCB enables appropriate usage of available resources for more productive purposes, of scarce resources purely for maintenance functions, and OCB strengthens the organization's ability to attract and retain the best employees. It results in increasing the stability of organization's performance. And employees become more and more cooperative with their superiors as well as colleagues. They exhibit more of this extra role behavior which we have been talking about. OCB increases employees' willingness to sacrifice their own comforts in order to meet the organizational goals. Higher the level of organizational citizenship behavior among employees, the lower the employee turnover and absenteeism. And organizational citizenship behavior brings in a positive impact on productivity, efficiency, and customer satisfaction apart from enhancing the cost reduction. In today's session, students, we have talked about, once again, we brushed up the memory about what is organizational citizenship behavior. We talked about forms of organizational citizenship behavior. We also explained what those forms mean. Not only the two forms, in addition to that, we also talked about OCBE, that is with relation to the environment as well. And then we have talked about the antecedents of organizational citizenship behavior. And finally, we talked about the implications of organizational citizenship behavior. Thank you all for the patient listening, and we will meet again in the next session to conclude this particular session. Thank you.